Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm back in another video, and today, man, coming at y'all with some more NBA breaking news. Now, this news right here is probably the biggest news that we've seen all offseason, and this news is going to be centered around James Harden. So on Twitter, a tweet came out today by @the NBA Central, and the tweet reads, "Breaking: James Harden wants to move on from the Rockets per @Houston Chronicle, and that Harden is trying to force his way to Brooklyn." Now, we heard for a couple of days now that Harden has been linked to the Nets, but we did not know that he generally wanted to move on from the Rockets and go to the Nets. But now we have known since a couple of tweets that came out today that Harden reportedly wants to move on from the Rockets, and the Brooklyn Nets are at the top of his list. So I'm going to say is this lineup that I have in my mind right now of the 2021 Brooklyn Nets, if Harden were to join the team, is very, very scary. That team going to include Kyrie Irving at the 1, Harden at the 2, KD at the 3, somebody like Ibaka or Gallinari on a maybe like a very, very cheap contract, and Jared Allen at the 5. That lineup right there, just on paper, looks very, 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 very good. But the thing is, with adding Harden to a lineup with KD and Kyrie, that is a lineup of 3 ball dominant players. We all know how ball dominant Kyrie Irving is. We all know how ball dominant James Harden is. And we all know how ball dominant is. So just imagine a team of 3 ball dominant players. And with adding Harden, the Nets would have to trade a good amount of their good enough core talent, because to trade for a good player, you also have to trade good players away. And Harden being probably a top 5 player in the NBA, the Nets are going to have to trade a lot of good talent in order to get Harden to come over to the Nets. So I would say first things first, the first player that will be traded to the Rockets is going to be Caris LeVert. Caris LeVert is a very, very good player, very underrated. I made a video on him in the past about a year ago of him being very, very underrated. He's honestly one of my favorite players in the NBA. Loved him ever since he was at Michigan, and I'm happy that he is getting a lot of success in the NBA and proving why he's very underrated. And also, the next player is going to be Spencer Dinwiddie, who last year absolutely balled out and almost made the All-Star team. So the Rockets adding both LeVert and Dinwiddie as their first 2 pieces of the trade for James Harden is a very, very good stepping stone, because those are 2 very, very good players and very underrated players in my opinion. Now, after acquiring LeVert and Dinwiddie, in my opinion, the Rockets are going to be looking for a good amount of first-round picks on the Brooklyn Nets, because, like I said, Harden is arguably a top 5 player in the NBA. So getting him is not going to be cheap. It'd be like a range from 2 to 4 first-round picks, depending on how much the Rockets value James Harden, which can go anywhere from like I said, 2 to 4 to maybe even a range of maybe like 3 to 5, because Harden is a very elite player and getting him is not going to be cheap at all. Now, the next thing is we're going to have to see how Kevin Durant bounces back from his torn Achilles. We're going to have to see if he's the same exact player that he was in his prime with the Warriors. We're going to have to see if he's lost a little bit of bounce and prove why he's one of the best players of all time and one of the best scorers of all time, because a healthy KD with a healthy Kyrie and a healthy Harden looks very, very scary. But again, those are 3 ball dominant players, so they're all going to have to take a backup role, probably like Kevin Durant being their main scorer, or James Harden being their main scorer, depending on, like I said, if KD can bounce back from his torn Achilles. But I would say even if that were not to happen, if that were to happen, Kyrie Irving will still be the 3rd option on the team. So Kyrie Irving has never been a 3rd option on a team before. He's always been either the 1st or 2nd option, to either 1st to himself on the Cavs or 2nd to him with LeBron James on the Cavs once LeBron James came back to the Cavaliers. So it's gonna be weird to see Kyrie Irving being maybe a 3rd option on the team, but at the end of the day, to win a ring, that is what you have to do, because winning a ring is not easy. Precautionary rules, and you have to take back seats if you want to win a championship ring, because rings are, like I said, are not easy to accomplish at all, and great players around the NBA are just ringless just because it is very hard to get a ring on a team. But yeah, my opinion, if this trade were to happen, the Nets would be very, very lethal. But like I said, it depends on if KD and or Harden can take a backseat to Kevin Durant, or if KD can take a backseat to James Harden being the second option on the team. But other than that, that is video. Make sure to go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up, follow me on Twitter, next video. It's your boy John, and I'm out, man. Peace.